Hello, 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 everyone. Can somebody just let me know if everything's good? The second time doing a presentation. Yes, Joe. Hola, hola, hola. ¿Cómo están todos? ¿Cómo estás, Joe? ¿Cómo estás, Michelle? It's good to see you. Okay. All right. Perfect. 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 So, hola, Tania. So, you just let me know if you can see the presentation as well as myself? Please, please, please. I think I got it right. I got it right this time. Yeah, I'm excited too, Michelle. I'm excited too. Yes, everything is great. All right, all right. So I'm just gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump in and just start. Okay. So, well, basically, I hope everyone is doing great today. I'm doing fine here in Tijuana, Mexico, right now. The climate is perfect right now. This moment is perfect, and I'm just stoked to be here and presenting. Well, just talking a little bit about this topic that is astrology that that I love so much right now. I'm studying astrology, psychological with an emphasis in psychological astrology. And I don't know. I'm just happy to be talking about this. This is the first time I'm going to do it in person, like with people. Usually, I talk about this just with myself when I'm about to sleep or just like random times a day. But right now, share it with people. I think is very important because I see astrology as a tool for personal development. And I believe that if every human being is here on Earth, we have to develop ourselves the best possible way, right? So astrology is just a beautiful, beautiful way to look at our personal development. And well, I'm going to start. Okay, so I'm gonna break this presentation in three parts. Okay, it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be not so many hard information. It's just gonna be basic information, and I'm just gonna talk first a little bit about astrology, some insights that I have. Then I'm gonna break down the natal chart, how we can benefit from it as well, and psychological astrology, which, as I said before, that's what I'm studying. That's what I'm studying. And well, I'm just going to talk a little bit about it and some insights that I have on it and why I believe is very, very important. Okay, so to jump right in, so what is astrology? And for us to understand astrology, I think that there's like two ways. People talk about the horoscope, and then we can talk about astrology. I see an horoscope as being as just a normal stone, and I see astrology as being the diamond. It's like goes way way more profound. It has way more value than just a horoscope. So take this if it resonates with you, but there's three types of consciousness, just to put it in perspective. All right, so we have, first of all, the terrestrial conscience. The terrestrial conscience, it would be, as the word says it, just the conscious of the material world, all the world that we can experience with our five senses. We know we are here on planet Earth, on the plane of Earth, right? And we just know that we are here. And while we are here, we can look up in the sky and we can look up to the stars, and we can feel the heat of the sun, and we just know that the moon is there and everything is normal. We don't give it like too much insight. We don't like grasp it. It's just there when we have this terrestrial conscience. And hopefully we all have this terrestrial conscience, right? Hopefully we're not just an unconscious being here living, not knowing that we are alive, just going in this rowboat mode. So we have this terrestrial conscience. But after that, when we start looking at the stars, because something just calls us, we just feel this connection to the sky. So we start just trying to understand the constellations, trying to understand some positions. We just look at the sky, and we actually, like, we can spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, like a whole night, just looking at them, and we actually know that there's something bigger up there, right? Like, we can sense it by nature. We don't know how to explain that, but we can sense it. And once we sense that, then we're like more open to understanding astrology and what astrology can tell us. Okay. And the third consciousness, and third type of consciousness that I like to call it, it will be the universal consciousness. Universal consciousness basically is just like, you just know that we are one, that we are connected to the same source, and that we are living right now in a third dimensional reality, but we are hoping to become, like, to live different dimensions. Or it's just like another sense of the universe, like another connection that individually everyone can just feel. All right. But to put it, like, what I'm trying to say here is that celestial consciousness, when we have this consciousness about the stars, we can start to speak the language of the stars. So the language of the stars, how it's talking to us, basically, we don't understand how, like, scientifically, but there's something that in the stars, in the position of the stars, in the position of the constellations, the position of the planets, there's an encrypted message, right? There's an encrypted message that there's people that actually study this language, right? And they can basically tell you what these stars are telling us. I like to see it, to look at it as the binary code. The binary code is like the language of the programmer, the ones that create websites and all that stuff, the technology in the computer, which I don't know much. And there's a product that is created from that language, right? So here in astrology, there's another product that is created from this positions in the stars, and that has to do with us, with our psyche, with our habits, with a lot of things that we are internally as individuals and as a collective. All right. So what does it say? It basically, and I'm gonna go a little bit deeper later, but it's basically a map of guidance that we can basically see everything in our life, like what's our type of energy, like our habits, our needs, patterns, communication style, desires, memories, feelings, thoughts, challenges, and behaviors. We can look at everything if we learn how to speak the language. The thing is that a lot of people, like, and I see it this in a positive way, that a lot of people, like, they're just studying the stone, right? They're not studying the diamond. So they get caught up in just like saying, well, I'm a Gemini, well, I'm an Aries, well, I'm a Libra, Sagittarius. And the thing is that, yes, that's what you are. That's what your sun was at the moment of your that's what the constellation was in the position with the sun in the horizon at the moment of your birth. But there's much more into it. So if your sun is in Gemini, or your sun is in Sagittarius or Leo, we have to ask ourselves, where's our moon? Where's our Mercury? Where's our Saturn? And all of this have different encrypted messages that we can discern if we learn how to speak the language. All right. Or if we are with someone who can speak the language. And I see a lot of people right now, like, throughout the world, that are trying to speak this language. And I think this is magical. This is magical because it's basically a tool that's in nature, right? That's in nature. And I'm going to share right now a quote, which it says, astrology has been the first and most universal attempt by men to find the hidden order behind or within the confusion of the earthly jungle. physical or psychological, as the case may be. So as that quote says, I like it because yes, we're trying to understand like our lives and how this work. Because the thing about astrology is that it works. We don't know how. We don't know how. That's the mystery, but it works. And that's why there's a lot of people in the world trying to speak this language, right? Trying to understand this language. There's a lot of accounts on Instagram that just they're posting a lot of like information, and a lot of people resonate with that. And that's why we can say it works, because once you read a natal chart, once you go deep into this language, there's no going back. You just understand the language. You just know that it's true, just like Italian or French or Spanish or math. Like astrology, you cannot say, hey, I believe in astrology or I don't believe in astrology. No, bro, either you know astrology or you don't know astrology, right? It's like math. Like at first, probably you go to school and you don't know what 2 plus 2 is, and you don't say, hey, I don't believe in math. But once you learn how what 2 plus 2 is, it's 4, right? You don't go like, oh, I guess I'm still a skeptic on math. I don't believe in math. No, no, bro, that's not how it works. Either you know it or you don't. All right. So there's different types of astrology, and I'm not going to go deep into it. There's lots of stuff how you can use astrology. I just put a couple of references, which would be like medical astrology, relationship, electional natal prediction, which would be the prediction in the worlds. And this has a lot of like a lot of market, a lot of people want to know the future. But I'm going to focus more on the psychological part. This is the part that I love. This is the part that I feel that right now we're going like way more deeper than before. So I believe that astrology is evolving into a more like inner awareness of ourselves. Okay, so let's continue. Let me go through the comments just to see everything is fine. I can see literally having to light language. You need sun, moon, and rising signs too. Yes, yes, exactly. You need to know where your sun, your moon, and rising. Those are the basic ones. Cycle of nature. Yes, Joe. Where to start? Doing natal chart reading is a great place to start. Yes, yes, and just by knowing, like, there's lots of information on the internet where you can just get your natal chart like read or like interpreted on some how do you call it like programaciones, like programs. But I will recommend, and I'm going to recommend it at the end, at some other ways. But yeah, but the sun, the moon, and the rising are basically the ones. The sun will be your like your vital, your force, your ego, the ones that's strong, the willingfulness. The moon is your like the nurturing part of yourself, the inner child in you, and your ascendant, that would be like the how people feel you, how you express yourself. I like to see it as this. I like to see it as this. Right now, that we're talking about this. Uh, Basically, your sun is your heart. Leo is like you, your inner part, and your ascendant will be like the outer layer. So we have layers. So we have our sun. So we have our sun, our moon, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and as it goes. And then the ascendant is the lens. It's like what people see in you, and the sign where your ascendant is what's going to be, well, basically the characteristic that it has. Okay, so I'm gonna continue. So okay, so astrology basically it's obviously hard to understand why it happens, but this is the easiest way that we can understand it, or we can get like a little glimpse on how this works and how everything works. And it's with the law of correspondence, the Hermetic law from Hermes Trismegistus. As above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. So I know probably everyone who is in this group have read this quote lots of times, but I like this analogy because, well, it's actually not an analogy, it's a reality. right? Because if we like, this is a picture supposedly from space, or from, I don't want to call it space, just like from higher perspective of Earth, and we can see this same shape and form in a lot of stuff. We can see it in plants, we can see it on trees, we can see it on our veins, and we can see it on our neurons. All right. So basically, how we can understand it is how everything is organized up there is the same way that is organized inside of us. It works as a fractal. So I'm just going to read this. Perspective, a little bit of perspective is we can see it that the planets provide a mirror or reflection reflecting the energy below. Okay. It is established that there is a harmony between the physical plane, the mental plane, and the spiritual plane. So this will be the physical plane, but I believe that it will be like so much ignorance in not believing or not knowing that as the same pattern that the universe uses to grow everything in nature would not be inside of us. And actually, we can see it that it's inside of us with the example of the veins, the neurons, the connections, the synapses, all that stuff. And I just put a barcode in here because I believe like something like that. We just get a barcode imprint from the universe. And for people who probably don't know what a fractal is, because I mean, I didn't say it, but this is a fractal, and this we can see that astrology works as that. A fractal is just the fractal repeats the structure of the all. So we can see this example of the whole fern, but then we go deeper and we can see the exact same figure, and then we go deeper and we see the exact same figure. And well, you can guess what I'm going with this. Basically, we have the same internal aspects inside of us. So astrology keeps us from the false feeling of separation with what we surround. Our body is connected to a bigger plot, but we perceive ourselves as separate entities. So that's the trap, guys. That's the trap we're living here in the third dimension, the trap that we feel that everything's separate. But with astrology, when we start to feel connected with the celestial consciousness, basically we understand that we are just one. And that helps us to basically just know that everything is okay, that we come from the same source, everyone, and there's nothing to worry about. At least that's the perspective that a lot of people who study astrology get from it, and it makes them feel at peace, right? So we are fractal of the universe, dancing the same music as the planets, stars, and everything above us. So everything is moving at the same rhythm. All right, cool. So with that, we have to understand a little bit about our natal chart. And I want to ask in the comments, who has gotten their natal chart read? Yes, Tania looks like a brain. I do natal chart readings. Perfect. Joe, yeah, you can go with Joe. To read their charts looks like a brain. Yes, everything looks the same in nature, inside of us, and up there as well. Okay. Have it a long time ago. Okay, perfect. Yeah, probably you want to update it. It's a very useful tool, and more like, as I was saying right now, that we're going like more inner, more psychological. We can understand ourselves better and accept ourselves, which is the big thing with astrology. I put in mind I want to dive deeper with Joanna Crowd. Yep. Yeah, you should. Okay. So the zodiac. Okay, so natal chart. So I want to start with this. So the zodiac is a vibratory system in which each of its zones, as if they were the frets of the strings of a guitar, vibrates in a specific way. It's a pattern of cosmic energy. So basically, we can see that as the energy that it's configuring us into being. Okay, so it depends where our planets, our signs, the houses where we were born in our natal chart, it will give us like this perfect symphony. All right. And I like to explain it like this. So we can see a natal chart right now. In order for you to get read your natal chart, you need the date of birth, the place, and time. Okay. And it's basically an energetic imprint. In our moment of birth, there was a shape inside of us that crystallized. and that is us. Just like a snowflake, everyone is perfect in its uniqueness, perfect in harmony. Okay, so as we see in the shape in the right, every snowflake, it's unique, and that's been comprobado. How do you say it? That has been like reassured by people who study this, and basically that's how we are. If we can see everyone has like a similar shape, which we can say that we are basically the same, and everyone is perfect, but it's different, but it's unique. So that is how we are, and we can see the same, basically kind of same shape in our natal chart, which everyone is the same, but everyone has different planets and aspects and all this beautiful stuff that astrology can teach us. So if we get this concept, then then we can see the movie of our lives, the movie in our lives. And this is a way I'm learning astrology, that basically there's characters, there's characteristics of these characters, and there's places where the movie these characters play. All right, so the natal chart with its houses, signs, planets, and aspects shows you the plan of studies, which we will go through to connect with the central circuit. So this is a part of astrology that I love the most, and I think this is the core of the natal chart, which is the center. No one talks about the center, but the center is basically your consciousness. It's basically your identity. It's basically it's the core center of your being, right? And we want to evolve this consciousness. But in order to evolve this consciousness, we need to experience the 3D. We need to experience this life and get a lot of experiences. So what the natal chart does is basically it's a map that it will tells us by the aspects. It will tells us where to go, where to dig deeper, where we can see like the difficulties in our life, the talents in our life, the different places, like our inner child aspect, our sexuality, our relationship with groups, a lot of stuff. So we have to understand with a natal chart reading that you're trying to evolve consciousness through experience, and the experience, you're going to live it through the different parts of the map that you're going to go through once you know your chart, once you know your map. All right, and this is a good way to see it, because I believe that a map, it's easy to remember for the sake of understanding astrology, and for the sake that just we need to we cannot be in two sides of a map, right? We need to be in one first, and we jump to another one. But there's different characters, so we can live a couple of them. So the planets, we can see here the circle in the middle. Here is where the planets are. And I know probably these will be a little bit confusing with people, but just try to bear with it. These are the planets and the archetypes, okay? So the symbols that will tell us different configurations. So the planets are the characters of the script, the archetypical energies that represent all psychological functions and principles that live in all of us, our internal voices, emotions, drive, power creators, habits, intellect, pleasure, self-image, ways of acting, and beliefs. So I put an example in here. The example would be Mars. Mars is what represents action. Okay, so we're just gonna keep this in mind right now. We have Mars, and Mars represent action, the action in our life, how we go in, how we take actions in our life. Okay, or how well. I'm explaining a little bit more here in the signs. So here we have the signs. The signs will be the characteristics, right? The characteristics that each planet has, or each person, right? The signs in our natal chart speak of our disposition, our genetic or hereditary, our character, innate, our needs, our inner motivations, our way of being particular. So we have this character, right? So we have Mars, we have the action, we have this. The action is not going to go anyway, but the way you do the action is going to tell us a lot, and we can see it in the signs. So the example from here, it will be Mars in Leo. Okay, so action plus bravery plus honor plus plus ego plus look at me. So right now we have an action that's going to be directed with braveness. It's going to be a tough action. It's going to be a warrior action, right? And we can see that, as I said, the action is not going anywhere. But let's say we change the Leo action to let's say to a Gemini action, right? So you have your Mars in Gemini, and that will be more like a mental action, right? It will be more in the intellect. It will be probably a person that will be like more like reading books or studying a lot or whatever. So the action is still there with the planet, but the sign will give us how. So so what I put here on the planets here, it's the what. So the planet is the what, and the sign is the how. Okay, and the different signs, the signs are, I mean, the planets, obviously there's the seven wonders, the seven planets, we all know that, but the signs, it's basically the constellations, the ecliptic, what goes around us, or at least that's what it seems, which I believe that it actually goes around us. But yeah, those are the 12 apostles, and 12 everything that you want to call it. Okay, so we have the signs in there, and each one has different frequencies, and each one is represented by an element: fire, air, water, or earth. Okay, and we can go deep into the cardinal, into the mutation cardinal, fixed, mutable, and there's polarities. There's a lot of things more deep inside the natal chart, which an astrologer or Joanna can read to you. Okay, and right now we're gonna go just through the houses, just to complete the understanding. The houses indicate the area where this manifests, where your energy manifests, the areas of our lives, in family, work, with our partners, with groups of people, with traveling, with just in different parts of our life. Okay, so basically, as a resume, as a summary, that was a word. Basically, we have the planets as being the character. We have the signs as being the characteristics, the frequencies, the energies, and we have the houses. Where does this happen? And basically, that's how you get a natal chart read, just by looking and making these interpretations. Okay, and so the natal chart is a seed in potential mode. Okay, it will be the personality of a person if it fully blossoms. So it's not a guarantee that it's going to blossom. I'm going to explain this right now. It's a route map because the objective does not try to overcome the influences of the planets, but rather of let there be in one's life margin to express all those qualities and impulses that they are symbolized in it. I know this is a little bit confusing. I actually translated this quote from Spanish to English, and this was the best way that I could put it in. But basically, we want to have space. So once we understand like what our abilities are, our abilities, our talents, or the planets, or just like everything that the chart is telling us, we want to have this margin of growness, right? We want to have this margin to act and to experience these different situations in life, so we can grow. So we need to accept what's basically happening in our lives, and that's what the perspective of psychological astrology gives us, just like a total acceptance of ourselves. So we're not trying to, if there's something like hard, like a tension, like a Mars with a Saturn in opposition, that will be like a difficulty on expression. We don't want just like, oh, I have I don't want to like overcome this part with a sense of like I'm a bad person. Or I'm just bad. No, no, that's just how you are, and you have this margin to work on it, right? You don't feel bad about that. You just accept yourself. And I'm gonna go deep right now with the uh, psychological with the 5 characteristics of psychological astrology that I personally love. I'm gonna go through the comments right now to see if there's any comments, any questions or something. Okay, we're one. Separation is an illusion. It's order to experience reality. Amen, sister. This knowledge was. This is a knowledge that was hidden by the evil ones. This is what should have been taught in schools. We were all programmed with religion and schooling. Amen. Amen. Yes, exactly. This is basically the science of light. This is the real science. This is where everything started. And it's time that we understand it. That's why it makes me so happy to see a lot of people, even though like they don't under that, even though they just see the normal stone, right? They don't see the diamond. I love watching people just like trying to figure out what their sign tells them and stuff. Hey, thank you, Ariel. Thank you, appreciate it. Or things we need to work on, or obstacles to be aware. Exactly. Yes, and I believe that's the biggest part. That's the biggest part. That's why I love the psychological aspect of it. Okay, so I'm gonna continue. All right, this is the last part. This is the last part. Okay, so a seed with a potential. Know your seed. No guaranteed same day charts. Okay, so basically, just like the oak tree is not guaranteed that it's gonna grow 1,500 years. Well, our shard is just pure potential that we decide to grow it or not. But the thing is that uh, not because you have a certain shard, a certain natal shard, that means that you're gonna live it. Let me put an example. There's people that say, well, this person has the same natal chart. He was born the same day, and he was born uh, uh, as another person, right? He was born the same day, so basically they have the same natal chart. But probably, and in their charts, basically say that there's a lot of freedom in their charts, right? There's a lot of just like traveling, or a lot of just self-expression, freedom, and those charts are perfect for self-expression, um, or traveling, whatever. And but one person was born in, let's say, Afghanistan, where probably there's, I don't know, there's like all these wars happening. I'm just trying to put it up from my mind, and there's not so much. I mean, in Afghanistan and in a family that they're very fanatical through their religion, through their religious views of life, right? And then we have the other person with the same chart that was born in the United States, in New York, with the airport right over there, with a family super libertarian, right? So that means that the freedom on their chart of the person in Afghanistan is not going to grow, right? There's no water on it. There's no sunlight on it. So that aspect of their chart is not conditioned to grow, right? But the other person, it has it easier to experience that freedom in their life. So what I'm trying to say is that there's no guarantee that your chart is you're going to be living to a full potential. That will depend on you. And that's the thing about the natal chart. That let's remember that the natal chart is not you. You are the person, and the natal chart is the tool for you to develop yourself and to actually tap. Now, once you know the language, or to tap into those places that probably you're not in your map right now, right? Okay, so that's where we need to see the conditions of our life. We need to see where we grow, and just the different aspects of our situations, más que la vida, more than of our life, like the experiences around us. All right. So, well, I'm going to give an example. later. So another thing I love about psychological astrology is that it respects everyone. So one of my teachers was telling me a story that he was reading. He read a natal chart for a girl, and basically when he ended reading the natal chart, the girl took out like a pathological diagnosis of some disease that supposedly she had, and it was the same exact thing that the astrologer told her. Um, so what does this say? I mean, if someone can read a chart and basically say what's going on with your psyche, it's literally like you cannot stigmatize this. You cannot judge this as if it was a disease, right? It's just what it is, and that's what I love about this. Just like the moon in Aries kids, they say. I mean, people who have moon in Aries, when they were kids, probably they were super hyperactivos, hyperactive, right? But that doesn't mean that it's incorrect. That doesn't mean that they have a problem. That doesn't mean that they have like ADHD or that you need to put them on medications. That's just how they are. And that's the beauty of astrology, that it just tells you how it is. You know, a rose is a rose, a tulip is a tulip. You don't compare a rose to a tulip, right? That's the same with us as persons, that we are unique human beings. And once we learn to speak the language or to understand the language of astrology, we can accept ourselves fully. We don't go through like judging ourselves. Okay, we just say like that's how we are. And an example would be like I have a Saturn in the fifth house in opposition with Mars. Probably that's why I talk a lot about these two planets. But with opposition with Mars and Leo, and basically, like in my life, I can look back. I can look back, and there was a lot of like restriction in my self-expression, and I didn't know why. And I like tried and I tried to overcome that, right? I tried to, okay, so this is what I do, and not because it is in the natal chart that's true. It is true because it is true, but I just can see it in the natal chart, and that's something that I have that I need to work on, right? So this is good stuff. So astrology is becoming psychological. It's a perfect tool for society. That's another thing that I love right now, that astrology is evolving, just like everything is evolving. 200 years ago, 100 years ago, people were uh, like their consciousness or their su perspectiva, su concentración, their views in life were more like making money, sustaining themselves. I don't know, like different kinds of stuff. Well, literally, it was not about the emotions or how they are or how they can be a better spouse or how they can live a better life, how they can become happier. It was not like that. So right now, as the world is evolving right now in this 21st century, with all this that is happening with the Aquarius era that we're now, like all this freedom of thought, all this like self-expression of the person, all these feelings, all the want to be good inside myself is starting to emerge. So I believe that astrology is evolving to this part. I seriously believe that astrology with a psychological emphasis is going to be the future of psychology once we once we turn down this elite's powers, once we turn down all this bullshit that's happening in the world. And probably we're not going to live through these times. I don't know. Hopefully we are, but I do believe that astrology is going to be the mother of psychology. And I think it's a perfect tool for society, just to get your natal chart reading and have an open mind and an open heart and this celestial consciousness, and just like go deep into yourself and figure out a lot of stuff that has been happening in your life. I don't know. So, okay. So another thing I love about this is that it makes you to know all of your mess. So as the houses as the internal dialogue that we have with ourselves in all these areas of our life. Like as I said before, probably the inner child, our feminine side, our masculine side, our professional side, our sexual side. We can look. We have a mask through all these parts of our life. We act in different ways. Okay, so as I said before, it's not a guarantee that you're gonna live through this. Probably you're a person that believes that you're not gonna have sex until marriage. Well, probably that part of your chart, the sexual part, you're not gonna be living it, and that's it. Just like your goals or a lot of stuff that you like to, or would you would like to experience your dreams. Like if you're not tapping into them, if you're not taking action into them, you're never gonna explore that potential. You need to nourish it. So all of our masks in the areas of the chart, basically we can go on each one of us, and for that you can go with an astrologer, and basically it can help you to see way more profound on how you are acting on several aspects on your life, and literally change or just like become more aware of it and work with that part of yourself to become the better version of yourself. And the last thing, but not least, it can make you understand past, present, and future. And yes, and I already said the example that I was gonna make, but a lot of times, guys, we judge ourselves so much. And you ask yourself, when was the last time you judged yourself, or you felt probably like a victim, or you were not good with your present moment life? And we get stuck in the past, right? We get stuck in the past. So once you understand the language of astrology, you can basically go to your past and to your chart and see, okay, look, like before I used to be this guy that was not very talkative with people. All right. So and that followed through my life with literally I coeve myself, I go inside myself, I don't express myself. And if you see that in your past and you're like, the past 10 years I've been living like that, well, that means that the past 10 years probably you've been living in that part of the map. But now if you look at other part of the map where it would be your present moment, like probably you're living the same thing. You're like, okay, now I'm gonna look at another part of the chart where I can start living this, or how can I overcome it, right? And that's where the astrologer takes part to decipher how are the things in your psyche that will help you to basically change. So you can understand your past, you can understand your present life with the transits, with by looking at the stars right now, and you can actually, I don't like say like predict the future, but you can see like where it will be better to move, when it will be a good time to start a business, when will be a good time to invest, when will be a good time to just talk to my spouse because we have problems right now, when would be a good time for anything, right? You can just go dive deeper into all these types of astrology. But at the end of the day, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, guys, we are all human beings trying to be in peace, trying to fulfill our lives with all these experiences, to get our dreams, to just become the best version of ourselves, right? And I believe this astrology is the best tool out there. I mean, there's a lot of tools, right? But it's a tool that we can basically expand on it, and we can get a lot of insight of ourselves, and in a psychological level, when there's a lot of times that we just don't understand why things are happening in our lives, and the stars basically can tell us all of that. Okay, so with that being said, how can you benefit from this? Well, you can get two ways you can benefit from astrology. One, learn astrology, learn the language, take it as a personal reto, how do you call it? As a personal challenge and just try to learn astrology, or get a good astrologer. Get a good astrologer that can read your chart, because here is going to depend um, which person is going to read your chart, because the person that's going to read your chart probably is just going to be using their rational mind, or they can just be using their emotional mind. But they say that the best astrologers, obviously, they use both sides of their brain, right? They know when to be rational and they know when to dig deeper into the emotional. So yes, in order for you to get I mean, to get a chart read with the best outcome, try to get a good astrologer. um, and yeah, and just see it as therapy. See it as therapy for yourself instead of going to the psychologist. Just try to learn astrology and be open to it. Be open to this celestial conscience, and I'm pretty sure you are gonna find out a lot of stuff. And in my experience, guys, in my experience, I got my natal chart read by, I would say, one of the best in the Spanish speaking community, which is from Spain. And literally, I mean, I've never known this person. He just said everything as it was. That's my experience. Everything as it was. Like I could see just like the way I talk, the that self-expression that sometimes I'm fighting myself, the fact that I love speaking in public, um, I don't know, just a lot of stuff that I was able to tap into. The fact that I have like a lot of problems in my family, like I'm a super freedom, like I have a lot of freedom. I have the word freedom tattooed in here, and like 6 years ago when I was like 24 years old, but at the same time I'm not free from my family, and I could see it in my chart and I understand it and I accepted it, and that made me feel so peaceful inside myself. That made me just understand that everything is all right, that everything is just how it is. And it made me like not judge myself as much as I used to, and just like, you know what, whatever, I'm just gonna go with what it is. And that's what astrology helps us. And yes, probably there's a lot of people that don't need astrology, but as I said, it's just a tool. It's just a tool that is just a beautiful tool, because we're playing with nature right now. We're playing with nature. So guys, I hope you like this presentation. If you like to get your natal chart read, you can send a message to Joe. I'm pretty sure she's a very good astrologer. I've never had my chart read by her, but her studies demonstrate that she knows what she's talking about. Plus, I mean, you know, all his trajectory with where she studied, all that she's doing for humanity right now, and just the fact creating this group and giving us the opportunity to express ourselves with these kind of subjects. So send a message to Joe. I'm pretty sure she's going to help us, help you, or you can also send me a message where I can tell you how I do this in a little bit more in a different way. All right. So, guys, I hope you like this, and I don't know how. I hope the rest of your lives is the best of your lives. All right. Let's go become the best versions of ourselves. Well, and before that, sorry, forgot. I'm just gonna go through the comments. uh, Yes, Michelle. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing it soon. I don't want to do them like right now, because it's 2 years of study, because it's like very deep stuff, and I just don't want to do it like vain. I can do right now like a super basic one, um, but I don't think like the what I'm trying to get with this is not yet like fully developed. You know, like I can tell you like a little bit about like every sign, every house, and all that. But if I want to do like a psychological reading, it will be like much more deep, and we'll have to have I just more profound. So probably like in a year, I'm gonna be actually graduated, and yes, I'm gonna be doing it. If a woman is moody, for some reason they tell us andamos con la luna. Makes sense. Emotions, baby. Emotions. I love it, helps us better understand ourselves. Thank you so much. Santos. Sí. Hey, Joe, probably we can talk later and we can do something together in reading charts. I don't know. Just just an idea. Hey guys, thank you very much. I hope you liked the presentation. I hope it was useful for something in your lives. And all right, I guess I'll see you later. Bye bye.